Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for telling my sister her feelings don't matter more than mine? My sister and I are 3 years apart in age. When I was 7, and she was newly 4, our mom died. I remember mom. She does not. So when our dad remarried 2 years after mom died, she was already calling stepmom mom, and I was calling her by her first name. I admit, at first I was very unhappy my sister was calling someone else mom. I did get over it, but as a kid it was hard for me to understand why my sister would call someone else that. How she could betray mom like that. Dad helped me through that, and I came out the other side understanding better, but she has never been able to understand my not accepting stepmom as mom. It's been an ongoing conflict between us, ever since we were kids. And now in our 20s it's reached the point of no return potentially. I don't hate my stepmom, nor do I not appreciate her for being good to us and loving us, but she's never been as important to me as my dad, say, and she has never been for me what she is for my sister. I would never call her mom, and she's not the first person I think of on something like Mother's Day, where she is for my sister. Now, I know you can have more than one mom. I know it's not a lack of loyalty to accept another person as mom or dad after losing a parent. But I also know it's not inherently unhealthy to not want someone to be that after losing your mom or dad. Ultimately, it comes down to what's best for the individual. For my sister it was for stepmom to be her mom. For me, it's for her to not be my mom. Over the years my sister has gotten on my case about treating my stepmom like less of a mom. For not honoring her with the same love as I do dad or mom. For not being a daughter for her. It intensified when stepmom suffered a miscarriage that left her unable to have children. My sister said I was selfish not to allow her to have 2 loving daughters. It has come up again recently because I'm expecting my first child and my sister has been pushing for me to turn to my stepmom more. A few weeks ago she came to me and told me it hurts her feelings as well. That it makes her feel like I don't give a shit about her either, or our happy family. That she wants me to accept stepmom as mom more than anything. I told her that her feelings don't matter more than mine. That she needs to learn to understand we have different experiences and emotions tied to that part of our life. That we should be able to feel different about it, but respect each other's. To learn to accept it, or our relationship won't ever be good. She has been mad at me ever since. She said the feelings of 2 people vs 1 should matter so much more, and that I should care about not hurting her, when it would be simple to fix all this. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA. Yes, it may be 2 versus 1, but that shouldn't be an excuse to stifle what you feel is healthy for you. You treat stepmom with respect and appreciate what she does. Cool. That's all that matters. You are definitely allowed to draw a line of up to where you want to be close to someone, even a stepmom. I'm actually wondering why your sister is so adamant about you calling your stepmom mom though. Is she convinced that you're the missing puzzle piece to being a whole family again? Tell her you're a person, not part of a jigsaw puzzle. Your relationship with your stepmom literally doesn't affect her. She probably feels some sort of guilt, whether she's aware of it or not. She had a BO mom that she doesn't remember, and Op is reminding her of that fact. She needs to go to therapy instead of harassing Opus. NTA, you have to focus on the one child in your life that matters, your own. Your sister never grew up. That's not on you. That's on her. She feels hurt. Fine. Sounds like a her problem. She is vocal about it. Pushy. Accuses you of being wrong. You have more important things in your life. Maybe your sister isn't one of them right now. Her feelings are important, but they won't matter for you. Her life. Her feelings. Her problem to deal with. If she can't understand that, she needs some more years to mature. Good way to put things. A lot of times so much stress can be alleviated when acknowledging that a lot of things are optional problems. In this case, sister is the one with a problem and Op doesn't have to take that on. Am I the antagonist for abandoning my child? So it's really my child, but the background would help with this. I, 35 male, was with my ex-girlfriend Kennedy for 3 years. During this time we got engaged and moved in together. Things were going great until she got pregnant. We started fighting about little stuff and the relationship really got toxic. Well, when Kennedy was 7 months pregnant, she dropped the bomb on me. She had been cheating on me for a year with some dude from work, and she was 100% sure he was the father of the kid she was carrying. Obviously I was embarrassed and just done with her. I took my ring back, which was a hassle to say the least, because Kennedy wanted to stay together lol. But eventually I got out of the house with my stuff and the ring, and have never looked back. I learned from mutual acquaintances that Kennedy and the baby daddy moved in together and got married. But I haven't seen or spoken to her in 9 years until this weekend. I now live with my fiancée Lisa, and Kennedy shows up at my door unannounced. I was shocked to see her and immediately told her to leave. She said she understood, but had a letter I needed to read. Once she left I read it, and basically her kid is mine. Her and her now ex-husband were married, and the kid started to look more and more like me. Her ex-husband got a DNA test and found out he wasn't the kid's father and flipped out. He left them both over 2 years ago, and she has been dreading reaching out since. But the kid is 100% mine. She included pics of the kid and it is mine without a doubt. Kennedy in the letter asked me to give her another chance as a person, and to co-parent with her for the sake of our daughter, and to at least be open to meeting her, because she's starting to ask questions about her dad, and that she will pay for therapy for all of us. She just wants me to be in the kid's life. But here is my issue. I want nothing to do with Kennedy anymore. Whenever I see her I feel an immense rush of anger and I don't think I could possibly be linked to her the rest of my life. Also am not on the birth certificate, so I hold zero responsibility there. I'm also not keen on being financially responsible in any way, and I enjoy my freedom. Kennedy caused this whole mess and I don't want to help her in any way. I also have no connection to this kid at all, and I don't really want to be a father anymore after what I went through with Kennedy. The biggest thing being, I'm engaged to a great woman, but she hates kids, like doesn't want them at all, and never wanted to date anyone with them. So I fear bringing this kid into my life will make my fiancé leave, and I don't want her to have to be okay with this. It's a potential nuclear bomb on our relationship. So for all these reasons I have zero interest in playing dad for the sake of Kennedy. Most of my family understands, but my sister is calling me an R. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. Info: how much does your current partner know about your previous relationship with Kennedy? Does fiancé know you left Kennedy because you thought the kid was hers and apps? Or are you starting out from zero? If you attempted to tell the truth to your fiancé and you really need to, or you would be tar. She knows about everything. We've talked about it before, and it's part of the reason we don't want kids. NTA. Kennedy and her ex sure are though. That man for all intents and purposes was the child's father. He is the one who abandoned her, not you. You have no relationship with this child, nor do you want one. Maybe when she's older you can sit down and tell her everything. But I think it's best for everyone if you're just not involved. That child doesn't need to know from another father she isn't wanted, and I think the level of resentment you have and the dislike of children your fiancé has will be hard to hide and be more damaging than if she just doesn't know you. Legally the guy who raised her might even be held responsible, depending on the location. I feel bad for the kid as well, but Kennedy made her life this difficult due to no fault of op, and it's worse to have two dads who refuse you than just one. Am I the antagonist for telling my sister I will no longer give her my breast milk? I, 28F, had a stillbirth 5 weeks ago. My sister gave birth to a healthy baby boy 4 weeks ago. After my stillbirth, I was producing milk and pumping, and my sister couldn't breastfeed after her son was born. Formula shortage was awful, and I was literally throwing my milk away. So I offered it to my sister and she gladly accepted. I was advised by the doctors to pump for 3 weeks after the stillbirth to prevent problems for me, and then stop. Otherwise I'd just keep producing milk. Due to the formula shortage, I have been pumping for 5 weeks now to give the milk to my sister. Now that there is more formula in stock and she has been able to go buy it, I told her I'll stop pumping. She told me her son has stomach problems after the formula and asked me to keep pumping. I told her I emotionally cannot handle it any longer. She said I'm being selfish and she already has to feed her son by bottle because she at first suggested I just nurse him for his daily feedings at least. We live next door and I refused. I told her I'm sorry and I can pump for a few more days so she can put some in the freezer and have some backup until she finds a better formula for her son. But she said breast milk is healthiest and I should just help her out. She called me a selfish and said that I'm the embodiment of misery loves company. My mother feels I should help my own sister out. My husband said my sister is way out of line. I feel really awful because I could still help her out and I know she needs it. Now for the top comments. NTA, your husband is right. You shouldn't be bullied into continuing your milk production and then pumping when this is time for you to grieve. You were kind enough to continue for 2 additional weeks. She needs to be grateful and move on. Also, she doesn't need it. She wants it. Very different. You were kind enough to help in a time of need when she couldn't find formula. Now she can find it. She just doesn't want to. Now, you need a chance to grieve, process, and move forward. The only need here is yours. NTA, I'm so sorry for what you're going through, and that your family is not there for you the way they should be. She even may need breast milk if she can't find a formula her baby isn't sensitive to. But it doesn't have to be produced by her family. It may be expensive, but surely Op's mental health is worth the money. NTA, your husband is right. I'm sorry for your loss. Because I could still help her out, but in truth you can't still help her out because it's harming you mentally and emotionally. Hell, she is harming you mentally and emotionally. NTA, and love to you as you mourn and heal. Am I the antagonist for embarrassing my colleague after she called me a princess? At my work they allow 1 day a year for volunteering. My manager said that we should do a river cleanup or something like that. My colleague pipes up and says, oh, I know Kate would enjoy that, but Op wouldn't be keen. I hear this from my desk. Turn around and ask her what does she mean by that, and she responds with what? Nothing. It's just I thought you would be a bit of a princess about it because of lunch. What she means by that is I always wash my hands before I eat, and that if the food I have is messy then I will use utensils. So like a few times I've ordered chicken wings and used a knife and fork, but let me just say, those bones are clean at the end. She has laughed at me about it before, and I've told her that I don't like getting sauce on my hands. This is mainly because it's the office. I don't want to make a mess or be a mess. So I respond, so because I like to keep my hands clean at work means that I'm a princess and wouldn't do what needs to be done. She starts to look embarrassed and tells me that I should just drop the topic. But I'll admit I was a bit annoyed and she hadn't even apologized. So I say to her, you're saying that even though you are fully aware that up until a few months ago I was a carer for my bedbound nan and didn't hesitate to get my hands dirty. So if you don't want to do river cleanup, that's on you. I then went to the organizer and suggested a volunteering company that I had used in a previous company. Apparently my manager had heard the whole interaction and then called my colleague over to talk about her conduct in the workplace. Nothing serious, just a slap on the hand. The sign up form went up for the river cleanup. As I'm signing up, she comes over to me and says I completely overreacted on something that was a small joke. One other colleague has said that I could use just ignored her. I don't regret standing up for myself, but now I'm wondering if I should have just ignored it or talked to her outside. TL. Dr. Colleague calls me a princess and tells the team I wouldn't want to volunteer for a river cleanup purely based on the fact that I like to keep my hands clean when I eat lunch. I called her out and reminded her that I was a carer for my bedbound gran and that I'm more than okay with getting my hands dirty when needed. Our manager heard our conversation and she got a slap on the wrist about office conduct, but she and another colleague have told me that I shouldn't have spoken back like that in the office. Now for the top comments. NTA, I would have gotten myself in trouble saying she'd feel right at home in a muddy riverbed like a pig in a sty. How are we this deep into the global pandemic and colleague still hasn't learned to wash her hands before shoving food into her mouth? NTA, she's mad you embarrassed her instead of her embarrassing you as she intended. She insulted you. You're allowed to defend yourself. It's not like you cursed her out or anything, just stated the facts calmly. You didn't report her to the manager. Her own conduct was enough that the manager, upon overhearing, thought she deserved a reprimand. NTA, I thought she did that quite well. She should however mention to the boss that the bully came back at her as did the bully's flying monkey. Perhaps a convo about how the bully regular does this type of thing would be appropriate at this time. Get her fired. No one needs that kind of jerk in their workplace. NTA, play stupid games. Win stupid prizes. She decided to joke around about it publicly. You answered publicly and proved to her that she was wrong. Don't see anything wrong with that. The only reason why she is upset with is because she got called out and now she won't bother you because now she knows you ain't taking any BS and you can stand up for yourself. I bet $10 she has done this before and the person she did it to didn't stand up for themselves and she got off scot-free /LH. Am I the antagonist for snapping and telling my sister to leave my home? Background: I, 32F, lost my partner about 5 years ago in a crash. Needless to say, I went through a terrible time after that, but I've gotten my life back together. I have a box where I keep some photos of us, letters and notes. I know it's been a while, but I like having it as a memento of our past. I just moved into a new apartment and my sister Isabel, 25F, came around to help me unpack. There was a rubbish bag to throw out anything I didn't need anymore, mainly for random papers and things. We are about to sit down for lunch and I decide to throw the rubbish bag away. Before we eat, I didn't notice at first but then saw the box buried under old catalogs. I asked and Isabel admitted she put it in the rubbish bag because to help me heal and I need to move on from the past. I snapped and told Isabel that she has no right to throw my stuff away without asking me and it's not her place. To which she replied that it's embarrassing to hold on to these things and I need to get a grip of reality. I told her to leave and she said I was being harsh and overreacting. I've been thinking, if I really was overreacting, she shouldn't have thrown out the box, but maybe I was being too harsh by snapping and kicking her out and not being realistic. Now for the top comments. NTA, keeping photos and mementos is not unhealthy. He's not an ex. He's deceased. Do people throw away photos of lost parents or grandparents? Kids? What a silly line of reasoning. And the way her sister replied, and not telling her about it? You need to judge this by the consequences desired by your sister. How would you have felt if you would have lost that box with memories because of her? Do you still think it's too harsh? I'll say it's not harsh enough. NTA, not only does she have no right to get rid of things that belong to you, but she also cannot dictate how you should grieve. She sounds extremely insensitive and disrespectful of your boundaries. NTA, what kind of evil person would do this to someone who has lost loved ones like this? Am I the antagonist for wanting to wear heels when my boyfriend doesn't want me to? Me F20 and my boyfriend, M26, are the same height when barefoot and we just recently got together. We did not meet online. He knew how tall I was before he asked me out, and he has seen me in heels too. I was actually wearing heels the day we met for the first time and was definitely taller than him. We both have nice jobs and are involved in a few uni projects and therefore get invited to suit and tie events almost bi-weekly. I'm a feminine woman. I thoroughly enjoy dressing up. It makes me feel beautiful and powerful. Heels are a big part of that for me. I love feeling tall and noticeable. Since there is plenty of occasions for me to wear them, I have several and it is not a one-off thing. My boyfriend, however, recently asked me not to wear them. He has not given me a specific reason apart from that he does not want me to be taller than him. Partially I understand. But my point is, I like them. I paid good money for them, and you knew how tall I was before you started dating me. Would I be the antagonist for wearing them anyway? Now for the top comments. NTA, wear the heels, unless of course it's for a date on a construction site. Then wear the high-heeled steel caps, or fishing. Then you need platform-heeled hip waders. NTA, he can ask all he wants, but that doesn't mean you have to listen. Don't let a man tell you what to, or what not to wear. EHH, if he asks again, after she's made her position clear, that's our behavior. He can ask once, but even that is borderline. As a 6'2" woman I say not the a-hole and wear the heels, if you want to. Why is he dating a woman as tall as him? If he gets insecure about that, no a-holes here. I'm taller than my partner by default, and we rock it. He has no problem being shorter than me. I'm definitely taller than my boyfriend in heels. When we first started dating, I put on a pair of 120mm heels and stood over him, and he thought it was so hot we didn't even make it out the door for dinner.